like my apple juice shaken, not stirred. Ugh. So this is the third film that we've gotten from Paul Feig and Melissa McCarthy, the other two being The Heat and Bridesmaids. I'm gonna be honest, I really did not like The Heat that much, and I know I'm gonna have a really unpopular opinion with this, but I didn't like Bridesmaids all that much. I've watched Bridesmaids multiple times and I just don't get it. So even though I don't like Bridesmaids, I still appreciate the effect it had on women in comedy. Because before Bridesmaids, the whole comedic landscape of movies was really male dominated, and then Bridesmaids came along and changed things up, so I have to appreciate that. Which now leads us to Spy, and here's the plot of Spy. It's Melissa McCarthy as a spy. What more do you really need to know? Now, I walked into Spy with really low expectations because I don't like Melissa McCarthy. I don't like the fact that she plays the same exact character in every movie, and I just don't like that one character. And I walked out of this movie pleasantly surprised. It had its flaws, but I came out liking it a lot more than I thought it would. Now let's start with the comedy. When it hit, it hit. I was laughing out loud at a couple of moments in this movie. I guess one reason that the comedy worked for me is Melissa McCarthy and her character. It's different. Now Melissa McCarthy would play the mean, foul-mouthed character in every movie, and every single time they will pummel that joke in. Her character in Spy is determined, she's relatable, and she's likable. I found myself rooting for her. I guess it was refreshing for me to see a somewhat different character and not have the same joke over and over again like I've seen in other Melissa McCarthy movies. And there was a part in this movie where Melissa McCarthy's character switches things up and becomes a mean, foul-mouthed person, but it works in context. The reason why her character becomes mean and has to curse a lot is pretty hilarious. And another reason why this movie is hilarious is Jason Statham. He's cocky as hell. He always thinks he can get the job done. He's always rattling off these stories that really don't seem true. His character was a lot of fun to watch, and Jason Statham was having a lot of fun playing that role. Not to mention that you get a supporting cast of Allison Janney, Jude Law, and Rose Byrne that all bring their A game. And Rose Byrne especially, she's a cold-hearted bitch. I'm talking about the character, not Rose Byrne the person. I'm sure she's really nice. And now I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Spy probably has the best action I've ever seen in a comedy before. I mean, props to Paul Feig for taking that extra step and actually putting in the effort in the action. I mean, it's no Captain America the Winter Soldier, but it's really well edited and it's really well choreographed. There's one scene in particular where Melissa McCarthy has a pan and she's trying to fend off against a woman with a knife. That was really well done. And now let's move on to the negatives. Although I thought there were a lot of hits with the comedy, there were a lot of misses as well. I do wish that the comedy could have been a little more consistent at times. I felt like there were some long periods where I just wasn't laughing. But with those periods where it did lack in comedy, it still made up with the performances and the characters. Now, I was never bored with the movie, but I still feel like that there could have been a little less misses in the comedy. And the story in this movie is the most cliched spy movie on the face of the planet. Once you see where the film goes and the twists and turns that it takes, you start to realize that this is getting a little familiar. I swear to God, I was able to call the twist of this movie 10 minutes in because I've seen spy movies and I know how they go. There's a character in this movie played by Miranda Hart. She's Melissa McCarthy's friend and she has a really big role in this movie, and I feel like her character is going to be really divisive on people. You're either going to really love her and find her hilarious, or you're going to find her annoying and not like her. I was the latter. Her one bit is that she's socially awkward, and that bit really gets old on you really quickly, but she did have one funny scene involving a cameo in this movie. It was the one character in the movie that just didn't work for me. So overall, Spy is funny at parts, it's really entertaining, the action is surprisingly good, and you got funny characters. But it does get predictable, it has its spy cliches with a very convoluted ending, and the comedy is a little inconsistent for my liking. But you know what, I'll still give Spy 3 out of 5 reels. What you guys think of Spy? Make sure to comment below, hit that subscribe button, hit me up on Twitter at my website, brendanhasablog.wordpress.com. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, I'm Brendan Weissman. Peace!